It was announced on Thursday by Paul Triple H, the WWE's chief content officer, that SummerSlam in 2 years, 2026, August 1st, August 2nd, will be a two-night event at US Bank Stadium, the home of Super Bowl 52, the home of the Minnesota Vikings. And I just want to give my quick thoughts on it because I did talk about obviously WrestleMania 41 moving from Minneapolis essentially to Las Vegas. And I do think that this is WWE's way of making it up to Minneapolis. And I think, to be honest with you, the city of Minneapolis should be thrilled with this because obviously it's not great to be in Minneapolis, even in April. It still feels like, March and February in some parts of the country. But at least the summers in the Twin Cities are nice. Obviously you got the Twins there who are always a on and off team. These are better odd years than even years. So this year in August, 2026, they may not be as good like they are in 2024. They'll probably bounce back in 2025. But regardless, there's a lot of questions around should WWE have made SummerSlam 2 nights? Shouldn't it be reserved specifically for WrestleMania? And I have a twofold answer to that. I understand both sides of it, that WrestleMania doesn't feel as special anymore because what distincted WrestleMania from everything else was that it was 2 nights, and everybody enjoyed it. You're going to get everybody on the card. But as I talked about in the last segment, at this point, as we get to the SummerSlam card, Randy Orton does not have a clear direction. Kevin Owens does not have a clear direction. Sami Zayn does not have a clear direction. Woman star power like Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, Charlotte Flair, if she gets back in the mix, do not have a clear direction. Even Uncle Howdy, who has yet to debut, is going to find a hard time, in my opinion, to get on this SummerSlam card. And so I think the WWE roster, maybe this side of the Attitude Era, may not have more talent. And so by that means, when you get to these A-level premium live events, maybe outside of Survivor Series, I think there does need to be 2 nights. And I do understand WWE's attempt to make more money by going to these stadiums to have bigger nights, to have these bigger shows. And I do think that the thing that we've seen in the Triple H era, and I've said this over and over again, Monday Night Raw can be a good to great show. Friday Night SmackDown can be a good to great show. But the Triple H era is not aimed to have every SmackDown be an A plus walk out of the park, to not have every Raw be an A plus out of the park, to not have every NXT, which is obviously owned by Shawn Michaels, be a home run and out of the park. Their goal is to have what I believe to be, on the lower end, C level average shows to high level B plus to A minus shows, which, really the in ring action and the storytelling move the show along. But it is to get you to the PLE. And what the PLEs will do is they will reward the fan for watching the product by having big payoffs and big moments. At these B level events, that lead to the big storyline conclusions, which is why a lot of the baby faces won at this year's WrestleMania. And I think WWE turning SummerSlam into WrestleMania of the summer is not a bad idea because it feels like that in the minds of many fans to begin with. And have SummerSlam be another place where those big baby faces start over and we get, 8 months to WrestleMania where these storylines commence. So I don't think it's a bad idea. I'm excited for it. And again, I think the WWE roster now is as big as ever, and you could do 2 nights of SummerSlam. The other question that's brought up, which I think is a very interesting question, which I think WWE should do, should the Royal Rumble also become a 2 night event where you have the main event of one night be the Women's Royal Rumble, the main event of the other night be a Men's Royal Rumble? And I'll say this, it could happen. And there's, people out there that says, well, you need to expand the match card for the Royal Rumble, from 4 matches to 8. And I get it, but we know that in this WWE currently right now, these 3 hour events are running 4 to 5 matches. I think you could do, a 2 to 3, if those 3 matches and the other two go 30 minutes, plus the Rumble, plus the entrances, you could have, a 2.5 hour night one Royal Rumble. You could have a 2.5 hour night two Royal Rumble with either the men's or the women's Royal Rumble main eventing the show. I even think at some points you could extend the Royal Rumble to 40 people. Again, it just goes to show you the depth and the talent that WWE has in today's roster. It may be as deep as the Attitude Era, but I'm not against this at all. SummerSlam coming to Minneapolis. I am so excited. You guys know I've talked about this for months. I have my tickets for SummerSlam in Cleveland, Ohio this year. And as WB said last night, we know they're flying out the window in Cleveland. We know Minneapolis is dying for a big POE. But where are they going in 2025? That's a huge question. And I think it could be overseas, but we'll have to stay tuned. Like that clip from the Brands World podcast? If so, make sure you go down there and hit that subscribe button. While you're down there hitting the subscribe button, make sure to also hit the notification bell so you never miss another upload. And make sure you check out all the other clips from the Brands World podcast right here on YouTube.